find myself at the Provost House, the only museum open on a Monday according to the tourist office. I take a seat on the first floor and lay my bag down in order to give my shoulders a rest. There's a video reenactment of the historical goings-on by men in very unconvincing black wigs. The presenter, who springs upon the scene every now and then, the effect being that time freezes, is a very theatrical man who has something Carl Sagan about him, at least in his enthusiasm for the subject. He speaks in the then BBC English. We are talking the 70s, before television discovered the merits of using more trusted regional accents. Think guys from Bolton selling car insurance. I'm very tired, but I still watch the whole video. It's got a drowsy warmth about it, as does the whole of Skees House. In the other room, I am taken by a couple paintings purportedly of a couple, John Alexander and his wife Marjorie Jameson, by George Jameson. I like the lady's smirk in the picture, which seems to lightly puncture what I can only imagine was a kind of noble seriousness, which was a protocol of the genre. Her husband John looks a bit stern, which his flared nostrils and mildly imploding mouth, and notably no teeth on display here. We might learn a little more about John from his depiction of his aunts on the opposite wall. Taking his cue from his grandfather's painting, John grants his sitters the gentlest of smiles. One can only speculate at the level of likeness John may have achieved, but hopefully he was a bit off the mark, because they look a bit more like Mrs. Doubtfire meets unintentionally grotesque Flemish bulb-headed angels or man-headed babies. Posterity, it seems, is a double-edged sword. Leaping in time again, you find yourself in the Regency room with a brilliant yellow couch that is the epitome of elegance, as the caption points out, and this time I must agree. Apparently the couch was recently upholstered in acid yellow silk, and it just looks mega. A Chinese teapot and corresponding cups await the arrival of some guests. My only criticism of this room is the floor could do with a hoover. It looks like it hasn't been dusted since the Middle Ages at least. The small painted gallery is also worth a peek. What a curious mixture